Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Venom, Start Symbiosis Black Widow. Chapter 41. Wabo Alloy. This is a mysterious metal created by Tun Tun Guo. Has a good extension ability, and will not be corroded by any substances, even aqua regia has little effect. Moreover, Wabo Alloy also belongs to the category of shape memory metal. Once shapeshifting, subjected to pressure, bending, and under certain conditions, it will return to its original shape. Frankie's General Frankie used this Wabo alloy, which has multiple transformation forms. Through Wabo alloy, it is also possible to create iron-armored treasures. Definitely, Duyi can only mass-produce Wabo alloys, but does not have the ability to create mechanical life. The required knowledge reserves, even if the symbiote has a lifespan of 1 billion years, can only be sighed. After all, the symbiote is simply alive. There is no active learning process at all. Fortunately, Widow's sister brought him to Stark Industries. By handing Wabo alloy to Iron Man, you will be able to create more advanced technology and speed up your own evolution. Jarvis. Scan this piece of metal. Stark's eyes narrowed slightly, and he also found something wrong. He had never seen this kind of material at all, as if it was the first time it came out, and even the periodic table of elements had never appeared. Beep, beep, beep. A burst of laser rays swept away. The smart housekeeper started a series of monitoring work. Gentlemen, it's a completely new material. According to the module calculation, no matter any parameter, it is superior to gold titanium alloy, even comparable to the secondary adamantium, and it seems to have a more unique effect. Can store energy. A slightly surprised electronic synthesis sound rang. Jarvis are amazed. Brand new material. There is no substance on the periodic table. Was it created by the Venom symbiote? As if the riots can't do it. Is it? Has Venom really evolved? Stark's face was dark, and there was an intriguing light in his slightly squinted eyes. Comparable to secondary adamantium. For battle suit materials, he has already thought about breaking his head, and is also trying to buy vibranium and even adamantium. But there is no formal trade channel. Not even Colonel Rhodes dared to make his own decisions. Because the formula of adamantium, including the secret origin, is firmly controlled by the military hand of General William Stryker. And he was only a mere colonel. How could he convince a general? It is said that the Sentry Secret Service, founded by General William Stryker, captured a group of mutant criminals who entered the country illegally and was deeply trusted by the commander. Coming soon to the Pentagon. Compete with General Thunderbolt for the position of Minister of Defense. However, Stark never dreamed that the Venom symbiote would be able to eat ordinary metals and generate a brand new mysterious substance. The problem of the armor material is solved. Only, what qualifications do I have to let Venom keep making this mysterious metal? Stark pinched his chin and couldn't help laughing. Natasha Romanoff, just swap symbiotes with me, and let me be the host of Venom. The riot is yours. Walter, swap symbiotes. Sister Widow and Duyi looked at each other. Seems to be confused. Just mind-blowing. Is the symbiote still playing? Enough. I don't like men. If you want more Wabo alloys, give me shares in Stark Industries. I want 50%. Duyi opened his mouth directly. The voice did not fall. Puff. Stark almost choked to death. Even the widow's sister couldn't help but open her lips slightly. 50%. Dare to say it. Even Tony Stark's own stake is only in his early 80s. If he sells 50% of his shares, his voice will undoubtedly plummet, and even the board of directors will be expelled from his seat. Stark Industries. It will also completely draw a line with the Stark family. Are you crazy? 50%. I will sell at most 15% of the shares. And you must ensure that the annual output of Wabo alloy is more than 200,000 tons. Stark bargained. After all, he was a brilliant arms dealer before he became superhero. After his calculation, even if he sells 15% of the shares, in exchange for an annual output of more than 200,000 tons of Wabo alloy, it is still a safe and profitable business. Wabo alloy, almost comparable to secondary adamantium. And the secondary adamantium was originally worthless. 1 gram is as high as 1 million USD. After being made into a battle armor by him, and even after cutting-edge technology, the value will inevitably skyrocket further, which can trigger global capital looting, and even the military has to purchase it. 15% of the shares are really better to flow than to rot in your hands. What's more, even if a share transfer agreement is signed, the Venom symbiote is not qualified to act as a legal person and must be signed by the Widow Sister. And he and the Widow Sister are both members of the Avengers Alliance. 1 to 2 to go. In fact, the shares have not been lost at all. Why not lose? Simply make a lot of money. What? Do you think I'm stupid? 49% of the shares, otherwise no discussion. Duyi's face was treacherous. Still took a step back. 49%. Vomiting blood. How is it different from 50? There is no sincerity in cooperation at all. Stark can't help but hold his forehead and his head hurts. However, the alien symbiote from space cannot be viewed from the perspective of an ordinary person, he can only take it slowly. After a round of haggling, in the end, the shares were fixed at around 35%. The annual output of Wabo alloy must be as high as 300,000 tons. As for raw materials, will be provided by Stark Industries. Since the Venom symbiote does not have the qualifications to act as a legal person, the signing ceremony will also be completed by the Widow Sister. Dividends will also hit her account. Simply do it all. It's not too late. Quick, move all the sheet metal to the Stark Industrial Building. The more the better. Stark was all smiles. Immediately, he dialed Pepper's phone. Even the Minister of Security, Happy Hogan, is out. One after another, the trucks drove into the Stark Industrial Building and quickly transported thousands of tons of metal plates to the agreed location. Then, the driver quickly backed out. There are no idle people waiting to stop. Prevent the existence of Venom symbiotes from leaking, causing unnecessary accidents and troubles. Hiss. The liquid pitch-black substance drilled out of the pore and instantly covered the Widow Sister's body. The tall female Venom made her debut in an instant. In the face of thousands of tons of metal plates, Duyi showed no signs of hesitation. Extend your arms. The power of swallowing fruit was activated on the spot. The fibers of the symbiote are intertwined, and almost in an instant, all the metal plates are wiped clean, and the molecular structure of the material is rearranged and combined again. A brand new metal element is directly generated. I saw a piece of silver bricks, piled up into a city wall, covering an extremely wide area, and there was almost no loss of the board. However, the value is already incomparable. After several repetitions, 300,000 tons of Wabo alloys were piled up directly in the warehouse. As for Duyi, at most, I feel a little tired physically and mentally. Simply stress-free. Ding. A payment message pops up. Tens of millions of USD have reached the designated account. It's a little hard work. Stark laughed. Hiss. The Widow Sister couldn't help her pupils shrinking. Millions of USD. Even if she is a level 7 agent of Aegis, she has a generous salary and treatment. Even if she doesn't eat or drink, it will take 50 years to earn tens of millions of wealth. Result: with the creation ability of the Venom symbiote, she directly became a millionaire. It's like a dream. Venom, how on earth did you master this ability? Tell me now. A magical voice sounded. The riot was full of hideous faces, and could not help but let out a hysterical roar. He was almost going crazy. As the leader of the symbiote group, he was surpassed by the Venom at the bottom of the food chain, and even the host wanted to replace him. He simply suffered a great humiliation. Evolution. This is something a symbiote dreams of. Regardless of riots or Venom, even with a lifespan of 1 billion years, it can copy the host's genetic code, achieve longevity in the true sense, and live with the world. But there is no hope of crossing the limits of species. Definitely. It was only after he parasitized Stark that he discovered that this Earthling had a secret that he could not understand. It is bound to bring him unprecedented metamorphosis. It's just that the riots didn't expect that the Venom symbiote is one step ahead, and has mastered the ability to turn decay into magic. Is this an ability possessed by the Venom host? No way. In Tony Stark's memory, Natasha Romanoff was just a vase. There's nothing extraordinary about it. The riots turned abruptly. Desperate for a definite answer. Even the same kind of knives do not hesitate. It turned out to be malicious to me. Riot. Surely evil. Stark, who served as the host of the riot, must have been negatively affected, right? Duyi's heart is alarming. With Superman's first-class perception, he has a keen insight into the hostility of the riot. But it didn't happen on the spot. After all, only after reaching a tacit agreement with Tony Stark, he directly obtained an astronomical amount of operating funds, which was enough to solve the supply of the Red Room base. Why tear up your face? After thinking for a while, he couldn't help showing a sly smile. Riot, Westchester County, Xavier Manor. The bald old man who is paralyzed in a wheelchair can answer your doubts. Duyi's face was full of sincerity, as if decided to drive away the tiger and swallow the wolf. Trick the riot to the Xavier Young Genius Academy. When Professor X discovers the existence of the riot, he will definitely make the right decision to help Tony Stark save himself from danger. It is good. If I don't get a satisfactory answer, you're finished. Riot narrowed his eyes, decided to believe in Venom for now. After all, symbiotes don't lie to symbiotes. Remember to tell Fury. I'm fine now. Pleasant working together. Stark waved. But there is an evil spirit that cannot be concealed. Made the Widow sister's heart skip a beat. Got goosebumps. Venom. What happened? The Widow sister said in amazement. Heartfelt heart palpitations. Duyi was also wondering. I thought Stark and Riot had integrated into a whole new life. Result. The Riot was revived with blood again. The vitality of the symbiote is indeed tenacious. However, once the thinking of the Riot symbiote overwhelms Tony Stark's mind, it is bound to cause irreversible consequences. Iron Man, who was immortal in his previous life and stood shoulder to shoulder with gods, will also degenerate into a supervillain. The ultimate Iron Man. This version of Iron Man, based on the characteristics of the symbiote, has developed a rare intelligent memory material in the world. Endo-Sim, literally translated as endo-symbol. Different from nanotechnology, Ultimate Iron Man's symbiotic body armor does not have any tedious operation steps and does not require him to manually activate it. But it can track and sense Stark's thoughts, without the slightest delay and lag. Regardless of weapon expansion, appearance, or shape, it can also follow the change of ideas. Even, you can temporarily leave the host and perform remote control within a certain range. Even magic and psychic damage will do little. It is simply a luxurious upgrade version of the Extremis Warframe. No one knows how the Ultimate Iron Man completes this sky-defying armor. Even the Tony Stark of this world is no exception. Fury must be notified promptly. The Widow sister stared. She has always had lingering fears about the riots. This is a real evil symbiote. A plan must be made to expel him from Stark's body. The essential, what can we do about it? There's almost nothing she can do. Little nah. The symbiote fears two things: flame, and sound waves. Because when the symbiote was born, it suffered the burning of the furnace and the beating of the hammer. It is suggested that the White Coat of the Ministry of Science and Technology invent a sonic weapon. It must be possible to drive out the riot. Duyi spoke in an eloquent manner. But the Widow sister frowned. Sonic, how is this possible? She had an MRI. There is no effect on the Venom at all. Let alone a riot stronger than Venom. Really? The Widow sister is full of disbelief. However, Duyi grinned. Stupid woman. I said it. I am the most special. I have also evolved. Most special. It turns out that the Venom didn't fool himself. The Widow sister couldn't help but turn up the corners of her mouth. There was a sense of superiority in an instant. What? I also prepared a surprise for you. Duyi manipulated the Widow sister, threw off her eyeliner, and walked to the dim alley. Next moment, her figure disappeared in situ. In an instant, it crossed the distance of thousands of mountains and rivers, and appeared in the sky fortress above the clouds. General Control Room. Squeak. The door slammed open. Yelena, who had long golden hair tied into a ponytail and was wearing a tactical uniform, couldn't help widening her eyes. At the same time, the Widow sister also realized the abnormal situation and turned her attention to the Widow sister. The two looked at each other. It was as if time stood still. A touching BGM sounded in my ears. Natasha Romanoff. Yelena, what is this place? The two spoke almost in unison. Immediately, the impatient Widow sister sprinted directly into the Widow sister's arms. I can't help but cry. Even though the two have only been together for a year, they are still family in the true sense, and no one can change this fact. Not even God is qualified. Then, Melina arrived late. She stopped to the side, and did not take the initiative to approach. A smile appeared at the corners of his mouth, and his eyes were moistened. It seems like 10 years have passed since we last met. This is the Red Room. General Drykov moved the Red Room to a height of 10,000 feet. The widowed sister cried. What? Drykov? Didn't he die in Budapest? The widowed sister was stunned. In my mind, the earth-shattering explosion also appeared. It didn't kill Drykov. His life is too hard. Yes. Drykov is still alive. It's locked in the cell. The Red Room has changed hands. Melina answered. Change owner. The widow was thoughtful. An incredible candidate hit her heart. Venom. Since Venom can bring her to the Red Room, it must have settled General Drykov. What? It seems that there is nothing to hide from you. Like it, a surprise I prepared for you. Do ye ask for credit? Hiss. Sizzle. The pitch-black liquid substance penetrated the widow sister's pore and formed a hideous head. I saw his face full of pride. It seems to be waiting for the praise of the widow sister. Venom. Thank you, the widow murmured. Immediately, she held Duyi's head with both hands, pulled it closer, and tiptoed slightly. Like a dragonfly on the water. Duyi felt a heat on his face. Even the widowed sister and Melina couldn't help being stunned. What's the situation? Has Sister Widow confessed to Venom? The two looked at each other and smiled. Watching the fun is not too big of a deal. New York, Westchester County, Salem District. 1407 Grama King Road. The banks of the Hudson River. There is a gorgeous and elegant old manor. Green vines crawled all over the wall. Even the green plants in the courtyard are trimmed to be pleasing to the eye. In the pond, schools of fish cruising. The sound of reading aloud came. Here, it is the famous Xavier Young Talent Academy. Also known as X Academy. All teachers and students in the school are mutants without exception. Even S.H.I.E.L.D., and even the Sentry Secret Service, had to follow the silent tacit understanding and take a detour to avoid disturbing the teachers and students in the manor. However, the roar of an engine suddenly resounded through the clouds. It directly broke the peace of Xavier Manor. Using the gold-red paint scheme, the Mark 7 armor that already has the laser-guided tracking and deployment function is like a bolt of lightning across the clear sky. Directly spans distances of multiple blocks. Landed straight into the Xavier Manor. Boom. A dull echo sounded. I saw Iron Man hitting the ground with his fists, posing in his classic debut pose, with its own sound and light special effects, making people unable to extricate themselves. Dang. Dang dang dang. Intensive footsteps sounded. The mutant students who were in class also didn't want to listen to the lecture, and went directly to the window to stick their heads out. I couldn't help but take a deep breath. Almost screamed. Iron Man. Wow, how handsome. Why did he come to Xavier Manor? Hurry up and notify the principal and director. Forgot. The X-Men went out on a secret mission. They haven't returned yet. Only Wolverine and Sister Chin are at home. Wolverine. Miss Chin. Stark hadn't heard the slightest bit about unfamiliar names. Not even the X-Men knew anything about it. He came to this place because Venom brought up the Xavier Manor. A bald old man in a wheelchair. Can it help the symbiote to complete its evolution? Even if he couldn't believe it, he couldn't hold back the rants and pleadings of the riot. Symbiote. Born with no way to metamorphosis. Even if the symbiote can copy the host's innate ability. Still can't control their own destiny. Will be subject to the god of symbiotes. Living abyss. Nar. In order to get out of Nar's control, he will lead a competent person from the far end of the universe to this mysterious and unpredictable planet. It's just that the riots never dreamed of. Venom was one step ahead of others and completed metamorphosis first, showing the power that he would never be able to do. After the molecular structure of the substance is broken up and reorganized, another brand new material can be generated. I am the leader of the symbiote group. Can't lose to Venom. Stark. Quickly find that bald head. The riots conveyed a manic mood. Even though Tony Stark is determined, he is still influenced by the symbiote. More and more conceited and arrogant. The character has returned to the period of the Arms Chief. He didn't even notice it himself. Hey, little guys. As the owner of the manor at home, I'm Tony Stark. I want to ask him to talk about something. The mask is raised. I saw that Stark's mouth was smiling, and his eyes were looking around. Immediately, the tall figure in the leather jacket and the tall girl with red hair and shawl paced in front of him. You're interrupting the students' class. Please come back after class. The tall and slender girl has deep facial features and exudes a noble and glamorous atmosphere, just like a top model on a fashion show. The unsmiling appearance makes people unable to take their eyes away, and even the scale of the career line is exaggerated, showing a sense of grace and luxury. Phoenix, Chin Gray. She is the rare Omega mutant in the world. It is also the perfect host recognized by Phoenix Force. Has the ability of psychokinesis, telepathy. However, but she found she couldn't read Tony Stark's heart at all. Chin, do you need me to take action? With a cigar on his lips, with his keen beast sense of smell, Wolverine, who already sensed the approaching danger, said in a low voice. Even in the face of the world-famous superhero, he has no pressure at all. No matter how powerful Tony Stark's armor is, it's invincible. It is also bound to be unable to resist the claws of the original adamantium. Wolverine Logan. The original adamantium was injected with ultra-high purity through General William Stryker's X-weapon program, and it has survived unbelievably. Since then, he has possessed a fighting power against the sky. Even his half-brother, Sabretooth, who has the same ability, is no longer his opponent. Definitely, the adamantium bullet hit his brain, causing him to lose almost all his past memories. Coming to the Xavier Manor was also an accident. What? You're still planning to attack me? I have no ill will. Stark's pupils contracted, and with the help of the violent symbiote's perspective, he read Wolverine's lips. However, there is no malice in his mouth. The arc reactor in the chest has already lit up with a strong light. Energy transfer. I saw him raise his palm, and the micropulse cannon instantly burst out a blazing dazzling beam. Hit the Wolverine directly to the extreme far away. The furniture in the room was knocked into pieces. The skin explodes directly. The wound is almost deep to the bone. No offense. Looks like you're impatient. Wolverine stood up, and the veins on her forehead jumped. 3 razor-sharp steel claws popped directly out of the fingers. At the same time, the innate superspeed self-healing ability takes effect. All wounds healed at a speed visible to the human eye. Overdrive self-healing. No matter how serious the injury is, it can be recovered in a very short time. If you want to stop his regeneration, you can only destroy him both physically and mentally. So, Wolverine would be the perfect candidate for the X-Weapons program. It also endured the high-temperature erosion of the original adamantium and successfully survived. Wow, your ability. Simply amazing. It seems that there is no way to kill you by conventional means. Stark looked surprised. It is also the first time to have a keen insight into the bright luster of the original adamantium. Adamantium. It turned out to be part of his skeleton. How is this possible? Only by injecting high-temperature liquid adamantium into the body can there be a chance to achieve this incredible feat. However, normally, no one is immune to adamantium's damage. Whether bones or muscles, will be roasted in an instant. Can't die anymore. Madness. His regeneration ability saved his life. A strange and magical voice echoed. Riot reminded. Indeed, Stark had a look of surprise on his face. This sky-defying self-healing ability can indeed reverse the results of in vivo experiments. Dang, 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 dang. At the same time, Wolverine took a stance, took a stride, like a tiger jumping into a stream, and suddenly slaughtered towards Stark. Nearly 5 meters away, they turned a blind eye. Because he can not only speed up self-healing, but also has Superman's first-class agility, strength, and jumping ability, which is comparable to spider telepathy's beast sense of smell. There was a deafening sound of breaking wind. Adamantium steel claws hit directly on the shell of the Mark 7 armor. Clang, clang, clang. A string of eye-catching Mars bursts. The sour noise almost pierced the eardrums. Wolverine was amazed. It seems that I didn't expect Tony Stark's armor material to be so tough. Even his steel claws didn't break the defense. Is this adamantium? With Tony Stark's financial and material resources, it is indeed possible to buy a large amount of adamantium and make an indestructible steel battle suit. It seems that JARVIS also has times when judgment is wrong. Wabo alloy. Hardness is higher than sub-adamantium. The mask is closed. Stark pulled away and retreated, standing above the void, and felt a pain from a blunt object, almost dislocating his ribs. Even if the Riot symbiote can heal the host, there is no way to block the fluctuation of neurons. That's right, the main material of the Mark 7 armor is Wabo alloy. Stark Building, with professional cutting machines and even fully automatic assembly lines, can mass-produce steel battle suits without human control at all. Definitely, he has not fully deciphered due to the properties of Wabo alloys. Mark 7 didn't take advantage of the Wabo alloy form memory at all. Once he understands the essence of shape memory alloy, I am afraid that Veronica armor may come out ahead of time. With his brain and talent, it is not impossible to tinker with shapeshifting King Kong. Logan, stop. Stark Industries, the funding of the Xavier estate, has been around since the 1970s. Professor X and Howard Stark are good friends too. Phoenix raised his palm slowly. The fingertips seemed to drop the invisible silk thread. An inexplicable force directly controlled the behavior of the two, and at a very critical moment, it successfully prevented the outbreak of the battle. What? Is the Stark Group still funding this place? Professor X. The name is a bit familiar. As if my father really mentioned it. Stark showed a thoughtful expression, but he never remembered what Professor X looked like. Look at Chin's face. Spare your life. Wolverine rubbed the lighter, lit a cigar again, and puffed up. But let Stark have no temper. Because the body of adamantium, coupled with the sky-defying self-healing ability, there is really no way for me to restrain myself. It seems, must develop a new armor that can be used against him. At the same time, a roar sounded. Like a hawk, a jet-black stealth fighter with streamlined wind resistance characteristics slowly landed at a high altitude. This is the exclusive car of the X-Men. Blackbird Fighter. X-Men, with a technological level ahead of the Earth, thanks to the brains of Academy Director Beast Hank. Beast Hank's IQ is also at the forefront of the world, and he has his own unique insights in the fields of genetic material and biochemistry. In addition, he also has a physical strength that is different from ordinary people. Even the strength of his legs is quite developed. He can also see things at night, and he can quickly recover from ordinary wounds and colds. The hatch is open. The bald old man in a wheelchair was the first to catch the eye. There was a smile on the corner of his mouth. It seems that Tony Stark's visit has been discovered before returning to Xavier Manor early. However, after the Omega-level mind ability scan, he frowned, showing a deep melancholy color. There is another soul on him. It seems to be spreading malice. 2 souls. Professor X was surprised. Immediately, he used his innate variant ability again, and his thinking was infinitely extended, and he directly spied into Tony Stark's mind. As one of the few Alpha-class mutants, Professor X, born with the incomparable telepathy ability, he can almost read, even manipulate, erase, create memories out of thin air, and control the behavior of anyone. No one can resist his spiritual power. Moreover, there is a special brainwave enhancement device in the dangerous situation training room under the Xavier Junior Genius Academy. He can expand his spiritual power to an unprecedented level, enough to monitor the entire Earth and instantly annihilate all ordinary humans, even superhero. Definitely, in the vast majority of cases, he will strictly restrain his behavior, and he will not spy on other people's minds without authorization, and he truly sets an example. Only, facing the menacing Tony Stark, the son of his best friend, as an elder, he made a spiritual diagnosis. It doesn't matter if you don't look. Startled at a glance, Tony Stark was parasitized by a strange substance. And, weird substances have souls, hysterical malice. Guiding and interfering with Tony Stark. Buzz. The scene in front of him is spinning. Stark is top heavy. As if the whole person is falling wirelessly. Open your eyes again. Moment. He found himself in another place, the cliff villa where he lived. The bald old man who was paralyzed in a wheelchair stood up and gave him an amiable smile. Stark, your situation is very dangerous. Fortunately, you took the initiative to come to the Xavier Manor. I will heal you, a magnetic aged voice echoed. Professor X opened a bottle of red wine, sniffed the natural fruit aroma emanating from the bottle, and couldn't help laughing. Romani Conti, very tasteful. He directly transmitted a wave of spiritual fluctuations. But it makes Stark creepy. This is, where? Magic, or witchcraft. I'm obviously at the Xavier Manor. Stark whispered. He had never experienced such a thing at all. Even if I guessed the identity of the resident of the Xavier Manor, I did not expect that Professor X's ability would go against the sky to such a degree. Mutant. I heard there's a mutant college hidden in Westchester County. It turned out not to be groundless. Stark Group has been funding the Xavier estate. Looking at his father's face, Professor X should have no malice, right? Stark's mind turned sharply, suddenly calmed down. This is the Mind Palace. I'm having a spiritual conversation with you. That way, the parasites on you can't hear it. Later. I'll help you get rid of the parasites too. Professor X spoke in an eloquent manner. Through the power of the mind, he discovered Tony Stark's recent experience, and also watched the superhero's mental journey. As for the extravagant private life, I didn't browse too much, and just passed it by. In the end, he witnesses the fight between the Riot symbiote and Tony Stark. It ends with Tony Stark's defeat. However, in order to prevent the Riot symbiote from becoming a disaster, it will continue to harm innocent people. He volunteered to be the host of the symbiote and trapped the symbiote on himself. As for what happened next, everyone knows it. Real, why doesn't it match my memory? Stark wondered. At this moment, he realized that the ability of the Riot symbiote seemed to rewrite his memory and distort his thoughts. If there is no Professor X, I am afraid he will never realize this. Shish, don't make a sound. I'm trying to seal the parasite's mind and mind. All right, Professor X laughed. All right. How long does it take? The professor was able to seal the autonomous consciousness of the alien symbiote. It seems, Natasha Romanoff was saved too. Stark reacted a little and couldn't help but smile. However, next moment, he was stunned suddenly. It seems that his original intention to come to the Xavier Manor was the suggestion made by the Venom symbiote. Could it be that Venom has already seen Professor X? Venom, and another symbiote. Stark, the symbiote is dangerous, it's better to take me there. Professor X frowned slightly, cannot help but dignified up. Although he has never been in contact with the symbiote group, he has also spied the tip of the iceberg through the riotous mind. For countless epochs, constantly changing hosts, letting the hosts die, and constantly copying the host's ability, knowledgeable. Even Professor X almost failed to control the riot. Danger. Yes. Then ask Professor X. My partner, another Avengers Alliance member, Natasha Romanoff, has an even more powerful symbiote. Venom, Stark said with lingering fears. It's just unimaginable. The widow sister who was possessed by Venom, what kind of twisted her mind? Washington, D.C. Security Council building. Boom. Kick the door open. Captain the United States took the lead, storming the Security Council Secretary General's office with a shield. Hawkeye, Phil Coulson, Hill Agent, followed. No trace of Alexander Pierce was found. Run away. Steve Rogers had a gloomy expression on his face, and couldn't help but curse inwardly. If Alexander Pierce is not caught, the snake catch plan will fall through. Hydra tissue did not hurt at all. Even if you catch a bunch of gangsters, it's not worth the slightest bit. Shit, if Cortana could participate in this operation, Pierce wouldn't be allowed to run away. Graham Lynn Tay Barton complained. Natasha Romanoff. SHIELD top agent. He is good at disguise and cross-dressing, and is also proficient in a series of fighting techniques, judo, grappling, and even ninjutsu. Even her acting skills have reached the level of an Oscar statuette, and almost no one can see through her disguise. Ambush beside Pierce ahead of time, and he will definitely make it impossible to escape. However, due to the presence of the Venom symbiote, Cortana is almost isolated from S.H.I.E.L.D., will not be entrusted with important tasks, for fear that she will run out of control, become another Hulk. Never mind, in the end, Hydra was solved and the collapse of S.H.I.E.L.D. was avoided. And even bigger potential crises. Also, the Waja playing cards are all in hand. The Avengers Alliance is also in dire need of expansion. Just bring in the Dragon team. Steve Rogers laughed. He undoubtedly left a deep impression on the archaeologists with high martial arts skills. Jackie Chan's unarmed fighting ability, I'm afraid he won't lose to himself. What's more, the peers who are called Daddy have also mastered the mysterious and unpredictable Oriental magic, which is bound to enhance the overall strength of the Avengers Alliance. Avengers Alliance expansion. Captain, there is no need to worry. The director makes his own decision. Phil Coulson smiled. But know what Nick Fury does. S.H.I.E.L.D. would not consider it even if District 13 could take over the role of the Dragon team. Because Jackie Chan is still the origin of China. In his opinion, it is not trustworthy at all. There is no need to attract the attention of the land of China. Soldier Company. It's enough of a headache. It is said that even mysterious aliens have descended on Juxia City. Sounds like Reina. At the same time. Beep. Beep beep. The Red House base above the clouds. The widow received a text message. This is the secret signal she and Barton agreed to. Yelena, I'm leaving for now. There are tens of millions of USD in the card. The password is your birthday. You can use this money as you like. The widow's sister handed out a credit card and rubbed the widow's sister's head. Even if there is a lot of reluctance in my heart, I must return to S.H.I.E.L.D. After all, her current identity is a S.H.I.E.L.D. 7 agent. If you leave the Aegis without authorization, you will be regarded as a traitor and wanted by the Stars and Stripes Federation. She was tired of hiding and had no plans to leave S.H.I.E.L.D. My birthday. Real. The widow's sister was surprised. Immediately, tears fell like rain. Impressed. It seems that the widow's sister always misses herself. Haven't forgotten the past. Bye. Sister Widow waved her hand. Next moment, her figure disappeared in situ. When he opened his eyes again, he had already appeared in the Aegis dormitory. Surveillance cameras are unable to capture blind spots in the field of vision. Boom. Dong dong. There was a tight knock on the door. Open the door. An anxious oriental face came into view. Iron Cavalry. Melinda May. She is an experienced female agent who is also trusted by Nick Fury. Thoughtful, tenacious, and very good at piloting flight machines. He was ordered to keep an eye on the whereabouts of the widow's sister. But I lost my widow in the alleyway outside the Stark building. After confirming that the mission target was missing, she rushed to the S.H.I.E.L.D. dormitory as soon as possible, holding the last glimmer of hope, and actually saw the widow's sister. Hide and seek. You lose. The corners of the widow's sister's mouth upturned. From beginning to end, she knew about Melinda's stalking. In order to whitewash her bizarre disappearance, it was directly treated as a prank. Ms. Natasha Romanoff, the chief is looking for you. And a bald old man in a wheelchair, accompanied by Tony Stark. Melinda said sternly, the fists clenched tightly. Twice. She even lost the widow's sister twice. Everyone is a level 7 agent, why is she inferior to the widow's sister? Really dissatisfied. You are strong. It's just that I'm good at anti-reconnaissance. The widow was relieved. Immediately, he paced towards the reception hall, and he couldn't help being slightly solemn about the bald old man mentioned by Melinda. Who are you referring to? A sound of footsteps echoed in the corridor. Through the frosted tempered glass, a few figures can be vaguely seen standing. There is also a bald old man in a wheelchair, wearing a well-cut high-end suit, with a smile on the corner of his mouth, exuding a harmless smell, like an old-fashioned gentleman. Professor X. Stark actually went to Xavier Manor. And brought Professor X to S.H.I.E.L.D. Yi was shocked. 10 million grass mud horses galloped past me. Almost yelled. Pit father. Reception hall. Before the door was opened, a hearty laughter could be heard. Squeak. The widow's sister entered the reception hall. I saw Tony Stark, wearing a Mark 7, nibbling on a steaming cheeseburger. It looks like he has not eaten for 3 days, like a hungry beggar, pitiful to the extreme. Tasty. It's simply irresistible. I must thank Professor X. Blocking the negative impact of the symbiote on me. Finally can continue to enjoy fast food. Stark has an appetite. Killed 2 Christmas carnival packages in almost no time. I couldn't help but burp. The loud burp made everyone laugh. That is this time. The widow's sister came to the front of everyone. Hello, Ms. Natasha Romanoff. My name is Charles Xavier. Also known as Professor X, he is the principal of the Xavier Young Talent Academy and a mutant. The bald old man in a wheelchair shook hands and offered himself. Behind him, there are 2 figures standing. A middle-aged man in a leather jacket, with black hair shaped like a wolverine, with a cigar on his lips, is breathing clouds. Even if the lady is present, there is no taboo at all. Hello, I am Chin Gri. Another lady, wearing a blood-colored trench coat, even her hair has the same color, exudes an intellectual and noble atmosphere. Shin's long and straight legs are even longer than those of the widow's sister. The widow's sister needs to look up. Chief, is Hydra done? After the greeting, Sister Widow expressed her doubts. but did not get a satisfactory answer. Pierce escaped. And, the tactical squad was attacked by troll warriors. Heavy casualties. Fortunately, the dragon team found the flower tie card. It's being cracked. Fury sighed. Even if the X-Men were present, there was no cover-up. Because on the eve of his taking office, he had already dealt with the X-Men, and a series of embarrassing incidents happened. Fortunately, Professor X is broad-minded and let go of the past. Otherwise, there is no way for the two sides to sit together at all. Flowering solitaire. It is good. Finally able to solve the gold merger. Sister Widow couldn't help clenching her fists. To this day, he has never forgotten Jin and wore the shadow mask. Simply vicious. Even a troll warrior whose fist width exceeds the waistline of ordinary people is a well-deserved confidant. Must be removed ASAP. Ms. Natasha Romanoff, can you summon the Venom symbiote on you? I want to talk to him. Professor X smiled, but he could not help frowning. With his telepathy power, there is no way to understand the reality of the Venom symbiote. At most, he can detect his existence and perceive that he is not malicious. What happened? Is it? Venom symbiote has psychic resistance. The professor frowned. The voice fell. Hiss. Sizzle. A hissing sound rang out. The pitch-black liquid mercury penetrated the pore of Sister Widow's body one after another, and then gathered into a ferocious pocket head, suspended in the air. The fangs are uneven. Saliva drawing. It's like high-temperature asphalt, and it's like black oil. But it has strong activity and vitality. Even the well-informed Wolverine can't help but shrink her pupils. Never seen such a disgusting thing at all. Nausea. He is inseparable from you. Wolverine looked disgusted. Looking carefully at the liquid fiber whiskers implicated in each other, I couldn't help my scalp tingling. Simply nauseated. Hey, wolf cub, watch your tone. Want to be beaten? How dare you say that you are disgusting? Dewey broke the defense on the spot. Swearing in pain. Spit stars all over Wolverine's face. Even though he admires Wolverine as a person and sympathizes with his experience, he cannot tolerate Wolverine humiliating himself. He almost tickled his teeth with hatred. I almost got away from the Widow Sister and beat up Wolverine. After all, he not only ate the giant Buddha fruit and intercolumnar cells, but also unlocked the template of the low-grade Superman through compound number 5. Even if Wolverine has the body of adamantium, it may not be his opponent. Can you speak? Who are you calling a wolf cub? I see you are courting death. Wolverine froze for a moment, then jumped into a rage. His educational level is limited to prenatal education. After he became an adult, he participated in 2 world wars. Self-cultivation and demeanor had almost nothing to do with him. Happiness was his pursuit. Swish. 3 adamantium steel claws pop out. War is imminent. However, Professor X decisively stopped. Logan. Have you forgotten my charge? The professor said sternly. But not too harsh on Wolverine. Compared with the Riot, it seems that Venom is more benign, and it also has various unknown qualities. Even with his spiritual power, there was no way to seal the Venom, and he was bounced off by an invisible magnetic field. It seems he couldn't fix Natasha Romanoff's troubles. It won't necessarily be trouble. What, old man? You have Alzheimer's. Did you come to see me for medical advice? Dewey spoke amazingly. Moment. The warm atmosphere suddenly dropped to freezing point. Whoa, a word stirred up 1,000 waves. Everyone can't help but short-circuit their brains. Even Professor X was stunned. Alzheimer's disease. Commonly known as Alzheimer's. This is a degenerative disease of the nervous system. The onset is relatively insidious, and it is more common in the elderly over the age of 70. Often accompanied by epilepsy, aphasia, memory loss, cognitive ability decline, behavioral disturbances, personality changes. Even life can't take care of itself. The essential. Dementia is currently incurable. It would be fine if ordinary people were sick. The issue is, Professor X, have the strongest brain on Earth. After wearing the brainwave enhancement device, you can monitor the world almost, and raise the innate variant ability to the rare Omega level in the world. Kill all creatures on Earth in an instant. However, once Professor X becomes ill, has epilepsy, and loses control of his mind, a mental bombardment on an unprecedented scale is bound to break out. All living creatures within the range will explode and die. Can't die anymore. The power is comparable to that of weapons of mass destruction. And he has no choice. Can only endure, allowing others to dictate their own food, drink, and Lazarus has no dignity at all. This is the main plot of Wolverine 3 Inches Twilight Wolf's Homecoming. In the play, after the onset of the disease, Professor X directly killed all the X-Men under the condition of losing control of his mind. Even innocent people in Westchester County suffered heavy casualties, and no one was spared. Professor X has become a lost dog, live in no man's land on the frontier of the desert. Go ahead and steal your life. At this moment, through the perception ability of the symbiote against the sky, Dewey has discovered the abnormal situation of Professor X. The brain is degenerating, and the operation of neurons is also chaotic. The onset of Alzheimer's is not far away. Once the disease occurs, the entire Juvenile Genius Academy will be razed to the ground. The X-Men will all die. And he was able to cure Professor X's Alzheimer's. Horse charm. It symbolizes healing and restoration. Can expel all abnormal effects caused by external forces. Even if he eats the horse charm, he can manifest it again and act as a temporary magic weapon. However, he will not cure Professor X for no reason. What? Alzheimer's? Real or fake? Professor, how are you feeling now? Is there no one who will tell me what is Alzheimer's and what is Heimer? Fury, Stark, and Phoenix, the widow's sister, can't help but be shocked. The four people's thoughts changed rapidly. The consequences of Professor X's illness have been almost predicted. However, the voice did not fall. Wolverine frowned slightly, and felt a daze from the bottom of her heart. With his educational level, he really cannot understand Alzheimer's disease, and even the spelling of words is smeared in both eyes. After all, with his innate overdrive self-healing factor, he has never suffered from any disease at all. Alzheimer's disease. Charles, is that true? Wolverine narrowed her eyes slightly. Even if he activated his beast sense of smell, he didn't have any insight into Professor X's abnormality. It seems, Venom symbiote is alarmist. Swish. 3 adamantium steel claws pop out. With his fiery temper, he has no idea of getting used to Venom at all, and chop him to pieces. However, a piercing sound of breaking the sky sounded. The steel claws of the original adamantium material, but did not split the Venom symbiote alive. Blazing sparks, as if gold and iron clashed. A sudden reaction force shocked Wolverine on the spot. How is this possible? Your head is actually harder than his armor. Wolverine can't help but gasp. The worldview is about to collapse. Venom symbiote, a hardness that rivals the original adamantium. Simply unbelievable. When exactly does it start? Adamantium sucks. Wolverine was stunned. Even Professor X and Chin were stunned. Ow, wolf cub, it seems that you are really an old birthday star who hangs himself and has a long life. I originally planned to cure Professor X's Alzheimer's disease, but now I'm free. Dewey has gold stars in his eyes. I haven't recovered for a long time. After waking up, I can't help but grin. Almost laughed out loud. Ulu God Steel. YYDS. Even though his symbiotic beard integrates a small amount of Ulu Cabelco, it has the hardness that the original adamantium can't match. Besides, after that, he ate half a ton of Wabo alloy. The shape memory properties of Wabo alloys are also copied over. If you count the all-round increase brought by the form of the Buddha. Strictly speaking, Dewey is no longer afraid of any superhero at this stage. It's just that there is no need to tear the face off. Due to the entropy increasing effect of energy, his abilities are also constantly conflicting, which indirectly weakens his combat effectiveness. So, before he ate the tiger charm, he still decided to grow up in a vulgar manner. There is no need to be the enemy of the world. And many more. What did you say? Can you cure Alzheimer's? Chin Jay Lei reacted a little, and couldn't help but widen her eyes, like a drowning man who grabbed a life-saving straw, and suddenly pulled into the distance between her and the Venom symbiote. Both are within reach. Dewey's nose could smell a refreshing fragrance. Nearly fell on Phoenix's body. However, he kept his emotions under control. Why be in a hurry? As long as Professor X's Alzheimer's is not cured, he has a chance to parasitize Chin Jay Lei. Cure Alzheimer's. If others claim that they can cure Alzheimer's, they will not believe it. However, it's Venom, alien symbiotes from space. No matter who it is possessed, it will give him the Superman's first-class force, and even the ability of climbing walls, and self-healing at extreme speed. Even if you are seriously injured and are on the verge of death, you can still be rescued, and you will be alive and kicking. Moreover, the Venom symbiote can also summon the haunted ninja. Work for it. It seems Venom intends to parasitize Professor X. The Widow sister's expression changed, obviously revealing a melancholy color, frowning tightly. She is used to the existence of Venom, and she doesn't want him to leave at all. Shut up, parasite. Why do you say Charles has Alzheimer's when he must have Alzheimer's? Stop being alarmist. Wolverine looked disdainful. Almost a punctuation mark is not believed in the intimidation of alien symbiotes. After all, Professor X, as an alpha-level spiritual mutant, even if he has entered his old age, his physique is not comparable to that of his peers. The X factor has greatly enhanced his physical fitness. The chance of getting sick is far lower than that of ordinary people. He wouldn't believe in disgusting alien parasites without credible evidence. Wolf cub, you are so impatient. Do you think I can't handle you? Dewey smiled coldly. Then, he sucked in a sharp breath and let it out. The temperature in the reception hall plummeted. Suddenly it dropped to freezing point. A strong cold air, wrapped in the power of ice, directly enveloped the rebellious Wolverine. Freeze him on the spot into a lifelike ice sculpture. Even the potted plants and green plants in the corners are covered with a layer of white crystals. As if the seasons change, spring and winter come. Heating equipment almost stopped working. Freeze breath. One of the heaven-defying abilities from compound number 5. Belonging to Superman's signature skill. Even the Superman of the Silver Age can create hurricanes, change the weather, and even blow out fixed stars. It's just that Dewey is not so powerful. Definitely. The future is uncertain. He might actually be able to awakening Superman's body of steel. Logan, how are you? How exactly should it be thawed? Chin Jailei's eyes widened, she couldn't help being horrified. Venom, when did you have this ability? The Widow sister's cherry lips slightly parted. It's so scary. The riot is almost incomparable to him. Fury and Stark looked at each other. I don't even know how to describe how I feel. The voice did not fall. I saw Wolverine's eyeballs rolling around, and hurriedly sent a message for help. Be careful, I'm going to cast ability. Chin raised her palm. Immediately, on the palm of the hand, a cluster of blazing fireworks suddenly appeared. The temperature of the entire reception hall also rose again. The faces of everyone are also reflected in the flickering and darkening. Phoenix Force, primal life, emotional energy from the multi-universe. Born at the beginning of all things. It has the terrifying property of burning everything in the world. However, Chin Jailei never dared to use this ultimate power frequently. It stems from her fear of her own ability. Another dark and twisted extreme personality was gradually generated. Always angry, full of violence, always eager to break out of the cage. Destroy this world. However, Professor X used his spiritual power to seal Chin Jailei's second personality. But as Jean Grey grew up, the strength of the mental cage was constantly weakening. If Chin Jailei frequently uses Phoenix Force, it will inevitably cause irreparable bad consequences. Could it be? I'm going to sit back and watch Logan freeze to death. Chin Jailei said. After all, the activation of the super speed self-healing ability also requires the support of the cells of the whole body. If cells cool dormant, the regeneration ability will no doubt be ineffective too. Logan really could have died here. Woo-hoo. A dazzling hot flame swept out, covering the frozen Wolverine again. In an instant, the ice sculptures began to melt rapidly. Even the floor has a layer of water stains. It's almost too late to pass everyone's shoes. Call. Wolverine hit the ground with both hands and took a deep breath. Sweat dripped down his cheeks. I saw his face full of the color of the rest of his life. For the first time since being frozen into an ice sculpture, Wolverine experienced the feeling of being on the verge of dying, as if the death god was about to swing his scythe. The tried and tested self-healing ability of overspeeding is also unable to play the slightest role. Turn out to be, his ability will also be restrained. Freeze breath. Do alien parasites have their own abilities? Wolverine raised her head, an inexplicable look appeared in her slightly squinted eyes, and she was so angry. But there is no way to get rid of the hatred. All right. Chin. Logan. Venom is right. I did check for signs of mild dementia. Professor X's face was full of bitterness, and he forced a smile. Even he did not expect that the Venom symbiote had the ability to diagnose at the microscope level, and exposed his condition of Alzheimer's in public. Until now, he was really relieved. Professor. Rest assured, SHIELD will definitely help. Nick Fury busy. Professor, you can trust my medical team. Stark also commented. However, Professor X shook his head. Because of the comprehensive technology level of Xavier Manor, in fact, the aegis of Voltage Regulator and Stark Industry are one step ahead. Even Beast Hank, who is proficient in the fields of biochemistry and genetics, is helpless. As for the others, I'm afraid it is enough. Chapter 51. Horse Spell. You can cure your Alzheimer's. Charles. Want a horse charm? Come and beg me. Dewey made a hissing sound. Immediately, endless fibrous tissues were directly stacked and shaped into a prismatic charm. The surface of the charm has lifelike animal patterns. Raging horses. A dazzling arc of light circulates. It symbolizes healing and restoration. Invulnerable to all diseases. Can remove all negative effects caused by external forces. However, this black charm can only be used once, and he has injected a small amount of magic power. Don't think of a cure for Alzheimer's at all. At most, it can alleviate the trend of severe dementia. Horse Spell. It seems that this is some devil's magic weapon. Has a mysterious ability. Stark pinched his chin, thinking hard. Pat, make a fist and hit the palm of your hand. He thought of it. Horse Charm. From the Demon Lord of Fire. It can indeed cure Professor X's Alzheimer's. And, before the Avengers Alliance arrived, the Venom symbiote had already snatched 6 spells. Among the 6 spells, the horse spell is also included. Nice. Stepping through the iron shoes, there is nowhere to find it, and it takes no effort to get it. It seems that the Venom symbiote is not useless. It's like a horse charm. Looks kinda evil. JARVIS. Have you recorded the power of Venom's frozen breath? What temperature is reached to freeze a large living person into a popsicle in an instant? Stark lowered his voice. It's really shocking. As an outstanding graduate of MIT, he not only has a PhD in mechanical physics and electrical engineering, but also in thermonuclear astrophysics. So far, he has maintained sufficient curiosity and curiosity. The so-called expert sees the doorway, and the layman sees the fun. He discovered the extraordinariness of the Venom symbiote almost at a glance. I am afraid that the frozen breath of the Venom will not be lower than -50 degrees Celsius. Gentlemen, that's right. The ice created by Venom has reached the level of extremely cold and quick freezing weather. It is recommended to strengthen the auxiliary heat function of the armor. The calm electronic synthesis sound rang. The most original suggestion was made at the first time. JARVIS. YYDS. Really reminded Stark too. A new warframe that can target the symbiote must be developed as soon as possible. Perhaps, the future technology he conceived can really be born with the blessing of Wabo Alloy and the Riot symbiote. Horse Spell. I seem to have heard something. I didn't expect it to actually exist. Professor X reacted slightly, and his eyes flashed slightly. Veterans don't die, they just fade away. The moment he was diagnosed with mild dementia, he was desperate and collapsed. With his intelligence, he can naturally predict the various disasters that may be caused when he becomes dementia. Definitely, from his point of view, he will subconsciously beautify everything, thinking that he can control it and will not hurt innocent people. Only, when the disease comes, even the hard-hitting man can't handle it. So, whether it is public or private, he needs a horse charm. Venom, what are your conditions? Just bring it up. Elegant and moving words echoed. Phoenix's hair falls down to his shoulders, and his waist is slender and flat, with almost no fat. At this moment, her eyes revealed a desire, and she cared more about his health than Professor X himself. Because Chin Jae Lei lost her parents when she was young. Professor X adopted her, and also taught her the principles of being a human being and the method of manipulating her ability, like a father like a mother. It's also like a year-end relationship. There is simply no shelf at all. However, she never dreamed that Professor X, whom she regarded as a god, would suffer from Alzheimer's disease in her later years. The degeneration of the brain never stops. Once the disease occurs, the mental state will also deteriorate sharply, with memory loss, cognitive ability decline, behavioral disorders, and even the inability to take care of yourself. All will be forgotten. Will forget myself too. And all the teachers and students of Xavier Manor. How sad. Condition. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'll let you know when I think about it. Dewey was silent for a moment, and couldn't help but laugh. Venom. No matter what conditions you put forward, I will agree. So, I hope you can give me the horse charm in advance. Chin Grebe clenched her teeth lightly and gathered up her courage. Awesome. Pinch in hand. Dewey almost laughed out loud. Apparently he's settled for Phoenix. You can parasitize Chin Gray anytime. Harvest item rewards provided by the system. And, it is also possible to copy to her innate Phoenix force. Simply win-win. It is good. Remember what you said. Dewey smiled coldly. Immediately, he activated the power of floating, moved the horse charm to Professor X, and taught him how to use it. As long as you hold the spell tightly, you can temporarily cure your Alzheimer's disease. Temporarily cured. Professor X, Wolverine, Chin Jay couldn't help but be slightly startled. Healing and temporary healing. It's just so different. Venom's mouth, deceitful ghost. Hey, please. Do you understand medical knowledge? Professor X, after all, he has entered the age of sparseness. Even if awakening X factor, the function of the whole body is constantly declining. After curing senile dementia, as he grows older and uses the power of the mind, degenerative diseases are bound to appear. Do you understand? Do ye spit all over? God con a pass. Even Stark and Nick Fury are enlightened. The evaluation of the Venom symbiote has also risen a few grades in invisible. Grasp the black spell. Moment. A healing power swept from the inside out. It was then instilled into Professor X's brain, filling the cells of the whole body, and revitalizing the cerebral cortex again. Thinking is also open again. Like a social animal who stayed up late for a long time, finally got a good night's sleep. Simply invigorating. Even the age spots all over the cheeks have been reduced. Even, he once again experienced the touch of his lower limbs. In the incredible eyes of everyone, he suddenly stepped on the ground and stood up tremblingly. It looks like a baby who is just starting to walk, as if it will fall down at any time, but it still supports the body. Professor, this, real or fake, you can actually walk alone. Horse spell, not only healed your brain, but also your spine by the way. Fury, and Wolverine, and Jean Grey, couldn't help but widen their eyes, their pupils constricting violently. It's like living in hell. Even Dewey was lost. Fake, big loss. He forgot that the horse charm has no self-consciousness. Once the ability takes effect, it will take effect in all directions, not just heal the brain, but ignore the spine. Venom, I must thank you. It gave me the feeling of walking again. Xavier Manor, you are welcome as a guest. Professor X grinned. It seems to be 10 years younger in an instant. However, due to years of paralysis, his legs have atrophied and he cannot stand for long periods of time. Soon, he was back in the wheelchair again. But it feels like life is full of color. The smile on the corner of the mouth is always lingering. A guest, choosing a day is worse than hitting the sun. Good day. Dewey's mind turned, and he directly agreed to Professor X's invitation. After all, the opportunity cannot be lost, it will never come again. As long as he enters the Xavier Manor, he will undoubtedly be able to successfully harvest a wave of system rewards. Even Phoenix is no exception. Awesome. The willows and flowers are bright in yet another village. Dewey is overjoyed. Director Nick Fury. I'll take care of him. Sitting in a wheelchair, the professor has regained his youthful vigor, exuding an aura that is not angry and self-proud, like a high-ranking official in the frontier for a long time. Know the heart. Control the Sheji artifact. Even Nick Fury couldn't help but be eclipsed, half his head shorter. After all, when Professor X founded the Xavier Jr. Genius Academy and led the X-Men to solve the Hellfire Club, Nick Fury hasn't even graduated from high school yet. Nick Fury of the Marvel movie universe, born in 1950, has been on the top of S.H.I.E.L.D. for only a dozen years. It is good. Natasha Romanoff, you are allowed 2 days off. Fury's face didn't change. In fact, smile again and again. After the Venom symbiote escapes Shield's sight. Who the hell knows what he will do? I hope Venom doesn't make a big news. Because after the fall of Alexander Pierce, the competition between General Thunderbolt and General William Stryker became more blatant. No matter who is on top, the Stars and Stripes Federation will set off a bloody storm. Because the two generals have completely different ideas and beliefs. If General William Stryker is in power, and the strategy against mutant in the Commonwealth is bound to be tightened again and again. The Xavier Jr. Talent Academy will be in jeopardy. Let's go. The fighter is already in place. Professor X laughed. Immediately, a group of people came to the roof. I saw the Harrier Eagle shape, the black paint, the Blackbird fighter with the streamlined wind resistance design, is ready to go. The roar of an engine resounded in the sky. Watch the Blackbird go away. Fury and Stark couldn't help thinking. Quinjet. There seems to be room for improvement. How can my technology level lag behind the X-Men? Stark's face was defiant. A blazing electric light burst out from the arc reactor in the chest. The energy conduction is increased to the maximum power. In an instant, the whole person is soaring into the sky, about to return to the Stark Industrial Building, and continue to optimize the Mark 7 armor he invented in case of emergency. Time passed little by little. Half an hour later. Blackbirds have entered Westchester County. I saw the dazzling sun shining down on the earth. The Hudson River is also set off sparkling. An ancient manor at the end of the river bank, the towering walls are covered with ivy. There are rockeries, lakes and ponds in the courtyard. Groups of children are playing and sparring. Exudes a vibrant flavor. Just when the Widow Sister was stunned, the Blackbird fighter jet has swept down. Landed in the courtyard. Natasha Romanoff. Welcome to Xavier Manor. This is Mutants Utopia. We must also thank S.H.I.E.L.D. for following a tacit understanding and not interfering too much with the operation of the Xavier Manor. Chin Gray took the Widow Sister's little hand and paced out of the cabin along the gangway. Moment. A natural herbal aroma blows. The cool wind swept the dense leaves, followed by a beautiful movement. However, Widow Sister is always gloomy. Because she was afraid that Venom would abandon her. Choose Chin Jae Lei as the new host. Imperceptibly, she has developed a feeling of dependence on the Venom that she is afraid to avoid, and she is familiar with his existence. If separately, you should be crying, right? Late at night. Starry. Above the pitch-black curtain hangs a bright moon. The silver-white moonlight shone down on the earth. The flowers and trees of Xavier Manor are also covered with a plain gauze. The evening wind blew the tips of the hair. The Widow's Sister stood on the balcony of the guest room, with burgundy curly hair and fragrant shoulders, with a beautiful and delicate face, like an independent jade person. Looking forward to life. But there was a deep melancholy look. Simply pitiful. She had no plans to be a guest at Xavier Manor at all. Aegis Dormitory. This is her home. However, Venom didn't take her thoughts into consideration at all, and directly accepted Professor X's warm invitation, and directed the good show of medicine to cure. There must be a plot. According to the personality of the female characters that Venom frequently parasitizes. He made it clear that he is not in love. The next host with both talent and beauty is being selected. Piano. Or a storm. Rascal. Shadowcat. Sister Widow was angry, but she couldn't do anything about it. So far, she has not captured the Venom. On the contrary, it was squeezed to death by the Venom. Rely. Infatuated. Almost got used to his presence. Sister Widow is so reluctant to part with me. Looks like I'm really attractive. Dewey almost laughed out loud. Also thinking about it. Leave the Widow's Sister to find another job, or continue to stay with the Widow's Sister and be an auxiliary pendant. Actually it works. Definitely. He has not forgotten the purpose of this trip. Parasitic Xavier Manor's key female characters, harvest a wave of system rewards. Whether Chin Jae Lei, Storm, Naughty, Shadowcat. He has no plans to let it go. All is ready except for the opportunity. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. You are very sleepy now. Dewey sent out a burst of mind waves. Sister hypnotic ability forced her to fall asleep. Immediately, Sister Widow felt that her eyelids were fighting, and tiredness swept over. She thought it was due to her excessive sadness. But he never thought that Venom had the ability to interfere with the mind. Sizzle. A hissing sound rang out. The pitch-black liquid substance escaped from Sister Widow and slid down the edge of the bed. Shaped like a mass of black oil, the flocculent feet continued to climb and drilled directly into the ventilation duct. According to the room number I remembered during the day, I quickly crawled over. During the whole process, there was almost no sound, and no one was disturbed. Even Professor X couldn't perceive his existence. Hiss, sizzle, he got into Phoenix's room first. Condescending. Looking at Chin Jailei's face carefully, she found that her face turned to the sky was even more eye-catching, as if she had deliberately pretended to be mature and chose a cooler makeup. In fact, she is still a young girl who is not yet deep in the world. Never experienced the evil on earth. Who? A scoff sounded. Chin Jailei, who was sleeping, suddenly opened her eyes. She found the approach of an unknown object. Phoenix Force as warning. However, after seeing the real face of the uninvited guest, she couldn't help but fall into an ice cave and got goosebumps all over. It's me, Venom. Can't you agree to any conditions? I figured it out. Just let me parasitize you. Dui made a magical voice and kept approaching Chin Jailei. The fundamental purpose of curing Professor X. Just for this moment, Chin Gray, considered the perfect host for Phoenix Force. It belongs to the rare Omega mutant in the world. Has God-level combat power. It will definitely bring him an unprecedented surprise reward. If the top, Phoenix Force will probably burn him out. Definitely. With Chin Jailei's acquiescence, Phoenix Force will also have no choice but to let Dui do it. What? Parasitic? Are you sure? Chin Jailei's heart skipped a beat. Instantly understood the idea of Venom. How? She has promised in advance. Venom also healed Professor X's brain and spine. You must keep your promise. However, paper can't wrap fire. After being parasitized by the Venom symbiote, it is very likely to cause the anger of another personality, directly break through the cage of the soul, and burn everything in the world. The other X-Men will see her as an outlier too. Chin Jailei subconsciously refused. Asked Dui to change the condition. However, after hearing Venom's words, she couldn't help but shake again. Chin Gri, I said it before. As Professor X grows older, there is no way to reverse the degeneration of the brain. It can only be cured by constantly using the horse charm. Are you sure you want to reject me? If Professor X suffers from mild dementia again, guess I'll help, or just stand by. Dui spoke in an eloquent manner. It made Chin Jailei's mood sink to the bottom. She was silent, also accepted the upcoming fate. I saw her clenching her teeth. Legs folded. The face does not wear Fendai, but she looks like she is about to cry, but it is even more touching. Hiss, hiss, a roar sounded. Dui turned into a spider web and expanded to an inexhaustible extent. Like liquid asphalt, it suddenly enveloped Phoenix. It also made her let out a cry. Directly alerted Wolverine next door. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully parasitizing Chin Jailei. Rewards have been distributed. Pay attention to check-in time. A pleasant beep sounded. Dui couldn't help but be ecstatic. Full of anticipation. As the perfect host of Phoenix Force, Chin Jailei is bound to be able to provide herself with unusually rich prop rewards. However, before he could check it, he heard a knock on the door. Boom, dong dong dong. Wolverine's voice passed through the door and came in. Chin, are you okay? Have you had a nightmare? The upper body is red and the outline of the abdominal muscles is revealed. With the innate beast senses, he has a keen insight into a trace of strangeness. But there is no substantive evidence. He nearly broke through the door. But I'm afraid of being disturbed and abruptly offending my sweetheart. However, I'm afraid he would never have dreamed that his sweetheart has been harassed by Dui and has become his new host. Hiss, sizzle, a hissing sound rang out. The liquid substance like mercury penetrated the pore, and then formed a grim head with a sneering look on his face, staring at Chin Jailei. Immediately, he erected a beard and made a booing gesture. Fine, Logan, just a mouse. I've been thrown out the window. Chin pretended to be calm. But I couldn't help shivering. Parasitized by a disgusting liquid substance. Give her goosebumps directly. It seems that the scalp is tingling. Simply regret it. Why agree to Venom's conditions? Chin, ignore the Venom. I'll get rid of him. Sleep in peace. Wolverine is a tough man with tenderness and comforts her sweetheart. However, inside the room, the symbiote he despised is taking advantage of the fire. Chingri bit her lip, barely daring to make a slight movement, her eyes flushed slightly, as if tears would burst at any moment. It is good. Good night. Listening to the murmurs coming from the door, Wolverine was content. Back to his room again. Go to sleep happily. But Chingri was hardly sleepy. Venom, it's actually out of my body. After a long time, when she chose to accept her fate, she found that Venom had already left before she knew it. Xavier Manor. In a secluded corner, moon shadows flicker. The liquid substance in the shape of black oil suddenly made a hissing sound. Grass. Make a lot of money. You actually rewarded me with this kind of thing. Yi couldn't help but go rough on the spot. Because he actually got the black light virus. Black light virus, it can open the limiter of species, speed up the evolution of life, perfectly copy the flesh and blood essence of other creatures, and awakening a variety of fighting forms. Note: perfect quality black light virus will not bring any negative effects. Black light virus, the biochemical virus in the world of killing prototype. Compared with the T virus, the effect is more powerful, and it will also open the user's genetic lock and open a new way of evolution. Devour, plunder, absorb, and even mutate. Do everything possible. The natural law of survival of the fittest has been interpreted to the fullest extent. Since he was originally a symbiote, after digesting the perfect quality black light virus, there was no abnormality at all, and he felt a sense of celestial relief. The whole person is like a cloud. For the control of the slender whiskers, the power of the fruit of swallowing the fruit has also reached another level. As if the rusted and aging machine has been injected with lubricant again. Simply handy. Nice. It seems that his choice is really not wrong. A trip to Xavier Manor is undoubtedly worthwhile. Only, I'm afraid it will take some time for him to fully understand the mystery of the black light virus. Nor can it be exposed at the Xavier Manor. Calm down. Stabilize your mind. Time to go to the naughty room. Yi crawls quickly. Through the air conditioner outdoor unit interface, he directly drilled into the little naughty room. Rascal, also known as the Rakshasa woman. She has a unique variant ability. Through touch, she can absorb the ability, memory, and even life of living humanoid intelligent life. Since she can't control her ability, she wears gloves and wraps herself tightly to avoid harm to the partners who get along with her day and night. However, even so, she is still isolated by the invisible of her peers. Don't be afraid to avoid it. After all, no one dares to make fun of a small life. Once the little naughty accepts himself and truly masters his ability, his amazing potential will burst out, making all his partners look up to him with admiration. Definitely, this process is a long way off. Hiss. Sizzle. With a whistling sound, the liquid pitch black substance has moved to the edge of the bed. The fibers are shaped like a web, almost touching the cheeks of the little naughty. But at this time, the little naughty suddenly opened his eyes angrily. Grass. Frightened labor and capital. Yi almost fell to the ground. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully parasitizing Anne-Marie. Rewards have been distributed. Pay attention to check-in time. A pleasant reminder sound echoed. Yi couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Awesome. No other accident happened. It seems that the little naughty variant of ability cannot currently have a negative impact on itself, nor can it absorb its own abilities and memories. Then, in order to prevent the mischievous Su Xing from coming over, he hurriedly activated a power of hypnotic ability to quickly secrete melatonin. Next moment, drowsiness swept through my mind. The little naughty snored again. He was successfully deceived by him. I thought I was just having a weird dream. Hiss. It seems that the goddess of luck has favored me again. I actually got the flesh and blood essence of the ultimate creature. Yi's heart skipped a beat. As if the forehead is burning. Immediately, the system backpack panel is summoned. I saw a baseball file size, a peculiar substance full of flesh and blood lines, presented in front of him. This is Monster Cell. The flesh and blood essence from the ultimate biological monster king can liberate the life energy hidden in the eater's body and create a brand new species of monster. Note: if other beings eat the monster cells, they will not be able to harm the host and will be suppressed by the host's breath. Weird cells. Heaven-defying props from the world of One Punch Superman. Ability to create monsters. It can also speed up the process of completing the geeky. Definitely. After eating the monster cells, the evil side of the eater will also be awakened, and there will be changes in line with the individual. But can't climb to a higher level. In other words, the monster cell opened the limiter of the eater, allowing the eater to get the combat power above the dragon level disaster. But it also locks the growth limit of the eater in another way. It is impossible to cross the thunder pond half a step. Always stay put. Hey, I don't have this trouble anymore. Because I not only ate the intercolumnar cells, but also got the perfect quality black light virus. Duyi's face was full of ecstasy. Black light virus. It is equivalent to a cheating device, completely opening his genetic lock, as to how high it can evolve, what level it can evolve to. There is absolutely no upper limit. Everything is possible. Moreover, he can also use the black light virus to replicate the gene program of the monster cells indefinitely, and use the symbiote as a carrier to mass produce the monster cells. Create an army of weirdos in a fraction of the time. Definitely. Want to be weird? Metamorphosis can only be achieved by going through a near-death experience, enduring an unimaginable physical and mental load, and crossing the boundary between life and death. Once a certain joint goes wrong, it is possible that the IQ will drop, the self-consciousness will be lost, and even organs will fail and die suddenly. Therefore, Duyi needs to choose the receptor carefully. Do not care. Swallow the monster cells first. Above the eaves. Once again, he got rid of the naughty Duyi and directly extracted the monster cells. I saw the flocculent liquid material making a hissing sound. Eat the monster cells on the spot. Boom, boom. A strong heartbeat sounded. Duyi's brain roars. Mind-blowing. Really experienced a feeling of being on the verge of dying. It was as if he had turned into Venom for the first time. He had not been supplied with phenylethylamine for a long time, and he was extremely weak. Sudden death seems to be possible at any time. Definitely. This suffocating near-death experience. Come fast, go fast. Duyi is full of blood again. Not only did a wonderful feeling emerge, but also the control of himself, and even all-round attributes, have reached the point where he can easily get it. The entropy increase effect is weakened. The black light virus is also under the blessing of monster cells, fission, deepening, and growth. Cool. Xavier Manor really didn't come for nothing. Whether the black light virus or the monster cell, it has exceeded my expectations. It's just a lot of money. Duyi almost laughed out loud. Immediately, he manipulated the liquid fibers to condense into a flesh and blood essence. The indescribable black flesh can beat like a heart. Weird cells replicated by the black light virus have almost exactly the same characteristics. No having effect. Whoever eats this living cell will stimulate the hidden potential of the body, awaken the dark side of the sleeping heart, and transform into a brand new species. Whack. Out of the realm of normal human beings. Not an inhuman, not a mutant. Completely transformed into another genetically mutated life form. What? Anyone didn't sleep. Just take you as an experiment. Duyi smiled coldly. Immediately, he quickly crawled to the student dormitory with lights in the distance. Replace the desserts in the lunchbox with monster cells. At the same time, squeak, the bathroom door opens. A graceful and beautiful girl, with her long hair up in a towel and wearing a cool silk nightgown, is preparing to stay up late to study the materials for the required courses. However, after sitting down, I opened the prepared lunchbox, but found a very weird snack. Like living cells, the whole is filled with pitch black color, constantly beating and glowing. Exudes an alluring feeling. It seems to smell the aroma of the index finger. Just like Kinder eggs. New. The girl was stunned for a moment. Without too much hesitation, she just took a bite. Juice burst. In no time, let her enjoy it all over her face. However, mutations at the gene level also erupted unconsciously. Boom. Bang bang bang. His heart was beating like a drum, beating wildly. The mutant girls also arched their bodies. Experience an unprecedented sense of suffocation. Next moment, the shape is like a spring that is suppressed to the extreme, and it is released suddenly. Her whole body meridians, even her bones and blood, unexpectedly changed at the same time, and the mysterious factors hidden in her body were completely recovered. After a moment, it has turned into a female disaster. Weird woman. The arms are coiled with black stripes, the waist is full of hands, there is no fat on the lower abdomen, and the radian of the career line is also very eye-catching. Like metamorphosis for another species. She looks like a monster girl. Mosquito girl. Owner. Wow, I'm getting better. The mosquito girl made a squeak, and it seemed that her self-consciousness had also changed, and the dark side of her heart dominated. There is an infinite thirst for fresh blood. You can also control the mosquito swarm as your own family. Once enough blood is drawn in, it is able to metamorphosis again, advancing into a stronger second form. Directly sit on the top spot of dragon-level disasters. After all, so far, only Mosquito Girl is a weirdo. Hiss, sizzle. The pitch-black liquid material then transformed into a burly and powerful ferocious beast. Body surface black fibers crisscross. The fangs are thick but snow-white. But it exudes a sense of inhuman violence. You will be a Mosquito Girl from now on. Mosquito Girl, can you change back to your original form? Duyi was amazed again and again. I couldn't help but light up my eyes. Good. Weird cells are simply awesome. A monster who can really create a one-punch world. As for the disaster level, I am afraid that it has not reached the dragon level. At most ghost level, it seems that the monster cells he copied have still weakened the effect and have not reached the amazing level he imagined. But it's enough. Owner, I can't change it back. It can only become more scary. Will you despise me? Mosquito Girl's wings drooped behind her back, and a thorn stood up on her forehead, as if she suddenly felt inferior. However, Duyi didn't dislike it at all. For the lustful Mosquito Girl, I also sincerely feel the heart. Awesome. Regardless of body size or appearance, they almost perfectly restore the female monsters in the one-punch world. The monster girl who appeared in pink ink. Mosquito Girl. Can you evolve by sucking blood? How far has it evolved? Duyi can't help but look forward to it. He desperately needs to expand his power. If it can come true, the surviving agents of the Red Room organization will undoubtedly usher in a surge in strength and transform into another brand new species. Whack! Even the Red Room base will become the home of evolution. Will constantly mass produce monsters. To what extent? I don't know. Never tried before. The Mosquito Girl frowned slightly, showing a sly expression. As for her ability, she still hasn't fully grasped it yet. Even the memory is a mess. Just know that Duyi is her master. Hum, buzz buzz. A roar of insects sounded. Mosquito Girl subconsciously activated her ability. I saw in all directions, countless flying insects fluttering their wings, circling around her constantly, like a courtier worshipping the king, conveying a convincing thought. In an instant, the sound of insects is getting more and more deafening. Gradually formed a worm cloud of unprecedented scale, almost covering the entire Xavier estate. Moreover, the mosquitoes penetrated into the student dormitory through the gap between the window lattices, and directly plunged the piercing sucking mouthparts into the veins of the prey. Start pumping hard. Once the belly is full, it will return to the Mosquito Girl and dedicate her blood to her. However, not all mutants are unaware. Swish. Wolverine opened her eyes sharply. 3 adamantium steel claws pop out. It directly smashed a mosquito that fluttered its wings. Mosquito. How is this possible? Mosquitoes everywhere. Has Brotherhood's chops made an appearance? With Beast's sense of smell, Wolverine immediately discovered the existence of the insect cloud. The hair on the body surface stood up, and also predicted the arrival of danger at the first time. At the same time, an alarm goes off. The core members of the X-Men appeared one after another. Focus on the front of the manor. Looking at the black insect cloud in the sky, everyone couldn't help but their eyelids jumped wildly, and they couldn't help but feel a chill. What's the situation? Who is manipulating mosquitoes? Eric, are you ready to attack? The bald old man in a wheelchair, wearing a high-quality nightgown, also appeared worried. As strong as Professor X, there is no way to deal with the insect swarm that covers the sky. Because mosquitoes have no heart and will. He simply cannot perfectly control the behavior of mosquitoes. Let me come. With brown skin and wearing cartoon pajamas, Storm, with long silver hair falling down her shoulders, stretched out her arms directly, displaying her innate ability. Storm, Orlo Monroe, the rare Omega mutant in the world. It can control the changes in the sky, trigger thunder and lightning, and summon violent storms. When she was extremely angry, the cosmic energy she burst out could even rival Thor, annihilating a planet directly. Click, click, a thunderous sound resounded through the sky. Dark clouds are gathering. I saw Storm's eyes turn white, and he was lifted up by a rising air current, thunder and lightning. Directly evaporated the unprecedented black insect cloud. Click. One after another, the lightning danced wildly, and the dazzling glare briefly illuminated the sky. It is also fortunate that the Xavier estate is located on the outskirts of the city. Otherwise, it is bound to attract the attention of S.H.I.E.L.D. Even field agents had to come to investigate. The violent chain lightning directly burned all the mosquitoes, and the corpses of the insects poured down. When it was about to fall on the shoulders of everyone, a hurricane swept in an instant, bringing the corpse to the other side of the Hudson River. Monroe, thanks a lot, Professor X smiled. However, for the sudden insect cloud, I sincerely feel at a loss. What's going on? He did not discover the existence of the evil Mutant Brotherhood at all. Mutant Brotherhood. This is an extremist organization founded by Magneto Eric. He thinks mutant is supreme. Should rule the Earth, rule all human beings. Definitely, the X-Men led by Charles have always thwarted Magneto's ambitions. The two forces fell in love with each other. There is no winner yet. Why, this kind of thing happened after Venom came to Xavier Manor as a guest. Professor, is Natasha Romanoff still around? Wolverine frowned, and also activated her beast sense of smell, and began to detect the location of the widow's sister. I smelled an unfamiliar scent. I can't help but dilate my pupils. Enemy. He took a direct stride, like a tiger jumping over a stream, and rushed to the bedroom where Mosquito Girl was in an instant. Crackling. The doors and windows burst open. Wolverine didn't even talk about martial arts, she just broke the window. At the same time, the rest of the X-Men also follow. Chin Gray, Storm, Cyclops, Colossus, Iceman, Fireman. The room was enveloped faintly. Looks like Lena's dormitory. What's up with her? Did she summon the swarm? Everyone couldn't help but whisper. Next moment, a roar sounded. The burly and powerful Wolverine flew out with a bang. Fell directly into the pond. Buzz. I saw Mosquito Girl fluttering her wings, two pairs of transparent wings dancing, her curvaceous body with a blood-colored sack tail behind her, standing above the clouds. It is like a beautiful work of art carved by God himself. The exposed skin is as fat as jade, and the body surface is coiled with black stripes. Eyes roll, looking forward to the appearance. Incredibly beautiful. Even Colossus and Cyclops can't help but lose their voices. Lena, how did it become like this? Mr. Monroe. Why exterminate my worms? Insects are so cute. The Mosquito Girl covered her mouth and chuckled. Then came a bell-like laughter. Shin's long and graceful shadows were also imprinted in the hearts of all young men, and they couldn't help blushing, but they couldn't look away. Lena, did you actually evolve again? Second mutation. Wake up. This is Xavier Academy and your home. Chin gently advised, but always felt the palpitations. There was an ominous premonition. In my mind, the shadow of the Venom symbiote appeared. Is Venom the one behind the scenes? The initiator? Bingo. Unfortunately there is no reward. Dewey smiled coldly. Immediately, he teleported to the guest room where Sister Widow lived. Back to the Widow's sister again. Only the Widow's sister can accept his existence wholeheartedly. There is absolutely no need to waste time training another host again. As for the Scarlet Witch, not to mention, hiss, sizzle, the liquid pitch-black substance penetrated into Sister Widow's body again, releasing her from her deep sleep. I heard a gentle humming sound. The Widow spread her arms. Highlight the graceful figure incisively and vividly. Venom, Widow's sister let out a babble. I was apprehensive. Because she was afraid of not answering. However, there was a screeching sound. Stinky girls, you dare to disturb this uncle's sweet dream. You're finished. In the world, no one can save you. Dewey's crazy hair. Then, one after another, black slender whiskers came out one after another, and then weaved into a whip blade and beat her hard. Boom, 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 boom. A burst of crisp sound as endless. Widow's sister's mouth twitched with two lines of laughter, and hurriedly begged for mercy. I was wrong. Don't make trouble. This is Xavier Manor. The wall has eyes. Although she believed in Professor X's character, she couldn't guarantee that other mutant teachers and students also had the same sentiment. Just at this time, there was a loud knock on the door. Ms. Natasha Romanoff. Feel sorry. disturbing your rest. There is an emergency at the Young Talent Academy. I hope you will inform Director Nick Fury and not interfere in this matter." A loud bass came in through the door. Beast Hank looked solemn. He was covered with blue hair, but he was wearing a white academic uniform, exuding an air of a domineering gentleman. Afraid that the widow's sister will make a move that endangers the Xavier Manor. Then, came to persuade quickly. Emergency. Rest assured. The director told me that S.H.I.E.L.D. will not interfere with the operation of Xavier Manor without authorization. The widow turned the handle. In an instant, symbiote fibrous tissue has been woven into an inky black body sculpting suit. Even the 10 fingers have generated mesh sleeves. A black gauze draped down her waist. Noble, bright. It's simply unstoppable. Beast Hank's eyes straightened. Immediately, he realized his embarrassment and turned his eyes away. There was no joke, but it still made Dui dissatisfied. Where you shouldn't look, don't look. You are a pig-like beast. There is still a face wearing a white bachelor's uniform. Are you ashamed? Hiss. Beast Hank was struck by thunder. The whole person was stunned on the spot. An incredible expression on his face. Human-like, pig-like, clothes beasts. I'm worried. Old Iron. As for his appearance, although he didn't say it, Beast Hank was very concerned and regretted extracting Mystique's gene and injecting it into his body. However, no one will mention this in person. I am afraid that the speaker has no intention, but the listener has a heart. Only, which pot of venom can't be opened without mentioning it? Just let him break the defense on the spot. Creak. Creak. Beast Hank clenched his teeth, the veins on his forehead jumped violently, and his 5 fingers suddenly popped out claws, exuding a sharp aura. It seems that they can tear fine iron with their bare hands. Even infantry armored vehicles can't trap him. After all, he has a physical strength that is different from ordinary people, comparable to the speed and strength of a lion and beast, and also has a small amount of self-healing factor. Common wounds and diseases heal quickly. Even the brain and IQ have reached an unparalleled level. However, only the wrong name, not the wrong nickname. Beast Hank. This title is enough to prove his true nature. What? Want to fight? Do you think I'm afraid of you? Come, I singled out a group of you. Dui laughed. Didn't take him seriously at all. After all, Beast Hank's positioning is almost no different from Wolverine's, capable of fighting and resisting. Even if you have the combat power of one enemy to 100, you can't match the venom of 1,000. Not to mention, Dui has integrated the black light virus and the monster cells. All-round attributes have been further skyrocketed again. Even if you face Hulk again, there is still Jinbian after wearing the Sombre Core. Almost all can be invincible. Sit firmly on the Daoyutai. Mere Beast Hank, nothing to talk about. Venom. Don't make trouble. Feel sorry, Mr. Hank, it's my bad discipline. I'll teach him the etiquette of dealing with people. Sister Widow smiled. The outbreak of fighting was stopped at the right time. Her smile can almost melt the cold winter. Even Beast Hank, who was on the verge of losing control, was relieved. A face full of shame. As the director of the Xavier Genius Academy, he really should lead by example, properly control his emotions, and there is no need to have the general knowledge of alien creatures. Let's go. Leave here. There's something going on in the neighboring student dormitory. Beast Hank took the lead, leading the widow sister around, going straight through the elevator, and arrived at the dangerous training room. This is the secret base of the X-Men. Dangerous Training Room. Created jointly by Professor X and Magneto, it has a technological level ahead of the times. Even the intelligent control system is not inferior to Tony Stark. Armory. There are all kinds of advanced weapons on display. Even the well-informed widow sister couldn't help but widen her eyes, secretly measuring the strength of the S.H.I.E.L.D. Technology Department and the X-Men. S.H.I.E.L.D. is slightly inferior. How is this possible? Don't be overly surprised. Around the 1960s, the Xavier Young Talent Academy was secretly established. It's just that I didn't choose to appear in front of people. Beast Hank laughed. For the outside world, promoting the Avengers Alliance is the first superhero group to say. The X-Men kept laughing without saying a word. There is no need to care about false honors. Pull it down. What kind of garlic? The X-Men dare to appear before them. William Stryker will kill you all. Dui sneered again and again. Directly punctured Beast Hank's cowhide. The widow sister also responded. Indeed, General William Stryker. The hatred for mutant is almost a household name. He led the establishment of the Sentry Secret Service. It's a real power organization specifically targeting transracial groups. No matter how quiet the Xavier estate is, neither can whitewash the tragic fate of the entire trans ethnicity. Shoot the first bird. Once the X-Men came to the spotlight, it will inevitably lead to a series of fights from the Sentry Secret Service. Can't die anymore. No one can compete with the high-speed state machine. You're right, General William Stryker, most likely Secretary of the Security Council. It is almost foreseeable that the Star-Striped Federation's strategy for changing ethnic groups will also be tightened again and again. And the X-Men have nothing to do. Beast Hank was silent for a moment, then lowered his head. There is no sophistry. In fact, there is no need to argue at all. After the fall of Alexander Pierce, federal politics will undoubtedly set off a storm. Could it be the existence of the Xavier estate, and the credit of Alexander Pierce? The widow's sister moved in her heart. Yes, Professor X discovered his Hydra identity through the power of the mind, but did not choose to make it public. It guarantees the continuation of the Young Talent Academy. Beast Hank said solemnly. It's hard to tell, definitely. At this point, there is nothing to hide. Where did Pierce escape to? X Academy can make meritorious deeds. The widow hurriedly said. Can X Academy be guilty of making meritorious deeds? Beast Hank's eyes flickered when he heard the words. For the proposal of the widow's sister, I undoubtedly feel the heartbeat. After all, Sister Widow, as a Level 7 agent of Aegis, has a close relationship with Nick Fury, and is also a member of Avengers. Host of the Venom symbiote. No one dared to take her opinion lightly. If Alexander Pierce can really be arrested and brought to justice, even if General William Stryker holds the post of Secretary General of the Security Council, there is no way to target the hero. It can also ensure the survival of the Xavier Manor. Eastern Europe. Sokovia. Pierce escaped to this barren and backward agricultural country. Beast Hank pondered for a moment, then made a wise choice. After all, with his brain and advanced wisdom, he can clearly judge the pros and cons. After Professor X passed away, Beast Hank will also take over the position of the principal of the Young Talent Academy, and will also inherit the seat of the Illuminati from Professor X. This shows how smart and excellent he is. Sokovia. Alexander Pierce, you actually came to this place. Could it be that this is the secret lair of the Hydra organization? The widow's sister's beautiful eyes blinked. Then, she was so excited. You can finally take part in the mission action. Because she provided the key information. I believe Fury will definitely not refuse. Beep, beep, beep. A phone call out. After a brief busy tone, the call is connected immediately. Then came a voice that was not angry and self-pretentious. Natasha Romanoff. You know, don't call this number lightly. It's not an example. Fury pretended to be majestic. But she didn't blame the widow too much. However, the next words made Nick Fury stand up suddenly, and his pupils contracted violently. Real or fake? Widow's sister discovered the location of Alexander Pierce. Exploring the secret lair of the Hydra organization. Yes, this is top secret information provided by the X-Men. Once General William Stryker, as Secretary General of the Security Council, Xavier Academy of Young Talents. The widow's sister hesitated, directly put forward Beast Hank's appeal in person. He also succeeded in harvesting his gratitude. It is good. I understand. Return to the 3 Curved Wing building immediately. Discuss a specific plan for the snake catching operation. Beep. Do. Listen to a busy tone coming from your ear. The widow's sister couldn't help but be overjoyed. The radiant appearance, as if born with a halo, exudes an extraordinary bearing, which directly makes Dewey stunned. Really, the widow's sister dancing on the tip of the knife is the real widow's sister. The life of a caged sparrow. What a waste of the widow's talent. Congratulations. Coming back to the front line. Dewey cheered. We should be congratulated. The widow's sister smiled. Deliberately accentuated the last 2 words. Us. Prove that she has fully recognized Dewey's existence. Consider Dewey a part of yourself. What? Congratulations. Dewey was cloudy to sunny. Also looking forward to Sokovia's adventure. It's possible to get early access to the Scarlet Witch. Wanda. If he can parasitize Wanda, he will surely get an unprecedented surprise reward. After all, the existence of Scarlet Witch can almost be regarded as a key cornerstone of the multi-universe. The origin magic power she possesses is also the most powerful force capable of distorting reality and subverting everything. The survival of Scarlet Witch is also enough to shake the universe originally. Not good. Lena is still out of control. Blood-sucking mosquitoes. It seems to be in the danger training room. Beast Hank heard the sound of mosquitoes flapping their wings. Next moment, hum, buzz buzz. One after another, the flying insects appeared directly in the danger training room through the ventilation duct. There is absolutely no way to stop the flying mosquitoes. Simply omnipresent, everywhere. Once they come into contact with living creatures, thousands of mosquitoes will activate their blood-sucking instinct and swarm one after another. Even an elephant will be turned into a mummified corpse. Who is Lena? Widow's sister frowned slightly. With Superman's first-class agent instinct, she also predicted the coming of danger, but did not have the ability to restore the full picture of the event. Lena, she is a mutant of the Xavier estate. But suddenly there is a second mutation. Evolved into a mosquito girl. Can control blood-sucking mosquitoes. Even if mosquitoes are easy to kill, she can still be summoned endlessly, as a follower of words and deeds, madly sucking the blood of living creatures. Beast Hank looked gloomy. Taking the widow's sister to the danger training room is also to avoid mosquitoes. However, Hank never dreamed that the floaters would follow. Invaded into the ground. Venom, it's our turn to show off. There was a faint smile on the corner of Sister Widow's mouth. Hiss, sizzle. The pitch-black liquid substance came out of the body, covering the widow's sister in all directions. Body surface black fibers crisscross. The tall female Venom. Come on, even Beast Hank needs to look up. What? So the symbiote can transform. Beast Hank's eyes widened. Almost dropped my jaw. After all, before that, he had never seen the true face of the Venom symbiote. Also have no concept of symbiotes. Just know the appearance of the symbiote, like a pool of high-temperature asphalt, black oil. At the same time, outside world, overwhelming floating mosquitoes gathered from all directions, once again forming a black cloud that covered the sky and the sun on a large scale. Even the moonlight is covered up, and the sound of mosquitoes flapping their wings, like thunder, can be heard incessantly. Hiss. Everyone took a deep breath. No one thought that Lena, who mutated again, would be able to awakening such a terrifying power and control mosquitoes to suck blood, which would also improve her own strength. The target of floating mosquitoes is Mutant. Mutant has an innate X factor. After Mosquito Girl absorbed the X factor, an incredible metamorphosis happened again, and she also mastered the mutant abilities of other teachers and students, almost promoted to the point of dragon-level disaster. Even Professor X was shocked. Dragon-level disaster. Usually has the power to destroy several large towns. Definitely, even if the dragon-level disaster comes to the Marvel world where superhero runs everywhere, it is not qualified to be the king. Because there are also high and low levels of dragon-level disasters. So far, Mosquito Girl has only reached the dragon-level standard, which is barely considered an ordinary dragon level. Lena, are you crazy? Planning to raise the Xavier estate? Hurry up and stop, Cyclops threatened in a low voice. The innate oscillating beam is almost ready to go. His eyes are connected to an independent dimension. It can also absorb ionized photons, solar radiation, and cosmic rays for their own use. Maximum power, able to destroy a planet effortlessly. Definitely, in most cases, he would not abuse his power, and he also needed to wear goggles made of red quartz to be able to see normally. Lena, don't call me that ugly name. My master gave me a new nickname. Mosquito Girl. The Mosquito Girl stands high in the sky, with a smile and a sweet smile, which is quite moving, like a monster girl created by a fantasy work. Alien species. The lotus roots are coiled with ink stripes, and the body is impeccably perfect. But let the X-Men have no time to appreciate it. Continue to cast ability, try to sweep away all the floating mosquitoes that are overwhelming. Avoid further trauma to all teachers and students. Become unconscious. However, no matter how many times the X-Men wiped out the swarm, the Mosquito Girl can be summoned again. The ubiquitous flying insects also sucked a lot of blood, making Mosquito Girl reach the critical point of metamorphosis, almost opening the second form. Second form. All-round attributes will usher in a wave of skyrocketing. It is possible to turn into a dragon-level elite. Die. The fireman rubbed the lighter. Moment. The blazing hot flames soared into the sky. Under his control, it turned into a flamethrower and poured out towards the swarm of insects. The flowers and plants with a radius of 10 meters were terrified to the extreme high temperature, which directly evaporated the water, and almost instantly turned yellow, curled, and withered. It also successfully killed the flying insects. Temporarily relieve the pressure on the X-Men. Fireman, John Allards, have the ability to control fire. But there is no way to generate fire. So, only carry a lighter with you. He is the tail end of the crane at the Young Talent Academy. Hot temper. No one in sight. What the hell? Scared the old man. The fireman shrank violently. Suddenly I found that not far away, a tall figure appeared out of thin air. The liquid fibers on the body were crisscrossed, and the color of tin foil was flowing. The ferocious face of the gaping fangs is like an evil spirit stepping out of hell. Almost subconsciously, the fireman directly launched a fireball. After illuminating the true face of the uninvited guest, he successfully angered him. Are you tired of living? Even I dare to attack. Seek death. A magical and enchanting voice echoed. I saw the female Venom pacing out. She is about 2 meters tall, and her movements are full of amazing explosive power. The ferocious posture also scared the mutant girl who had not yet experienced the world to tears. She couldn't help shivering. Who? Reinforcements from the Mutant Brotherhood. Everyone was stunned. However, Professor X and Wolverine could not help feeling a chill in their hearts after seeing the familiar faces. Venom, Natasha Romanoff. It turns out that after the symbiote and the host are combined, they will become like a wolf, like a tiger. John, apologize quickly, Chin Jae-lei hurriedly said. Because she knows how bad Venom's character is. Once Venom takes revenge, I am afraid that the fireman will die without a whole body. Apologize. Why? When he grows into such a respectable face, he shouldn't show his face, so as not to scare the children from crying. Go home and stay. Fireman snorted. Even if the female Venom's Ali's identity is discovered, it does not mean to bow her head at all. Even, the appearance of female Venom was mocked in public. Let Dewey get angry. You won't die if you don't do it. It seems, he has to teach Professor X the truth of how Huo-Nan behaves in the world. Hiss. Sizzle. The symbiote organization gathered its right hand and instantly generated an exaggerated giant hammer. With the metamorphosis brought by the perfect black light virus, he has awakening a variety of fighting forms. For example, energy claws, giant hammer fist, whip blade, charged blade, thermal sensing vision, high energy shield, super armor. Almost carry an arsenal with you. Become the ultimate predator at the top of the food chain. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.